Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon, and by your tips and memberships on Ko-fi. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. And as always, thank you for all your support, including sharing, chatting, liking, and subscribing. Now roll that famous logo animation! Good evening and welcome back to Computerized Start Live. I am your host, Justin D. Morgan, and I bet you thought I was going to start with the Commodore song. We'll get to that shortly. All right, I do have to thank you for joining me tonight. I know if you're in the US, you have other entertainment options tonight, and I'm glad you picked to hang out here. And if you're not in the US, well, we're not going to talk about that entertainment option. So let's see here. We have Francois in the chat, who really needs to sleep, but is hanging out with us instead. Thomas Armstrong says, sleep is overrated. And we have Frank Guest. So hello, Francois, Thomas, and Frank. Welcome. Yes, I have not. Oh, let's see here. Let's go to channel announcements. So the eBay regret meter is feeling a bit low, and I have my eye on a potential regret. So the Ko-fi link is in the video description. And with that, let's go to a short little update here. So I have the Apple II Plus clone board still on my workbench. And you might notice the ROM in the F8 socket. Yes, so I think it was yesterday morning I managed to find two more 2716s that didn't have a label over the window. I've got more, but I would have had to have removed the label, and I didn't have that much time, so I threw them in the eraser, and then when I got home from work last night, I was able to burn a copy of Adrian Black's Dead Test, because I was onto something at the end of Tuesday's stream, and that was that, no, it wasn't that these Apple ROMs are bad, it's that these Apple ROMs are incorrect for this motherboard. Motherboard does not use the Apple Mask ROM pinout. So there's probably nothing wrong with these ROMs, hopefully. Because I don't think the pinout difference would have sent high voltages somewhere where they shouldn't have been. So these ROMs may actually work. I may test them sometime, but that's not for tonight. But I thought I would give you a short update by means of a little story here. If you saw my Instagram or YouTube short, on Instagram I was able to actually sync it with the music I wanted to, but on YouTube I couldn't. So, well, you're missing out on the little music. But anyways, so with the character ROM I burned Tuesday night, which is the one from the Apple II Plus, and the Dead Test cartridge, or the Dead Test ROM from Adrian Black, I was greeted by this. And now, I'm not sure exactly what hieroglyphics those are supposed to be. But anyways, I was both happy that it was actually running code, considering that I couldn't find a problem with the board. I mean, I ran through all the logic chips and couldn't find a problem. So I was actually happy to see that with a 2716 in the F8 socket, it actually runs code. Oh, hi, Will. Welcome. But I was also kind of disappointed to see that it seems like the characters are backwards, corrupted, not characters. We'll wait till it gets to the little summary report out screen and I mean, this graphics mode, the screen looks pretty decent. There is a missing capacitor. Anyway, alien hieroglyphics would be what I'd describe that as. But it looks like everything's backwards and has some extra lines in it. Anyways. So I was kind of like, well, that's kind of disappointing. But it's running code. What could cause that problem? And then it dawned on me. I have computer. And I realized computers' ROMs, like I should have remembered because I'd read one out before. Computers' ROMs, although they're not 2716s, they have the same pinout as a 2716. So I popped Computer's character ROM in my EEPROM reader and read it out and immediately realized that it looks nothing like the Apple II Plus character ROM. So anyways, I should probably mention before, if you'll remember, I said I found 2 extra EEPROMs, meaning I had 4 2760s. Anyways, this Intel mask ROM that I tried to use Tuesday night, and it didn't seem like it wasn't erased. Well, it's bad. It will not erase. It returns garbage, so it's going into the bad chip bag. But anyways, I had one more 2716, and I burned a copy of Computer's character ROM to it. Anyways, we will take the Apple II Plus character ROM out. We will put Computer's character ROM in. And now that is what I expected to see. The characters are not backwards, and there isn't like an extra line beside the character. And it's running code. Now, interestingly enough, I think the Apple character ROM on the Apple II Plus may also be a 2716 pinout, because it actually did draw the same backwards characters with the original mask ROM I tried to use. So I think Apple may have used a 2716 pinout for the character ROM, possibly because they knew they would have to change it for other markets. But yeah, it looks like the mask ROMs for the rest of the kernel and basic ROMs, yeah, those apparently were the proprietary pinout that has like 3 chip selects. So, but 2716 has a chip select and a chip enable, or output enable and a chip select, which is why the mask ROMs weren't working. They're enabled 2 completely different ways. But anyways, there you go. The Apple II Plus clone motherboard I was working on Tuesday does work. I was so close. If only I'd had a couple extra 2716s that didn't have labels on them or were already erased, I would have probably realized that the problem was I had the wrong character ROM. Will's asking, think you competing with that debate stuff, people watching that? Well, they might be watching it. But, yeah, I scheduled the stream before I realized there was a debate tonight. So, we'll see how the stream goes. But I didn't want to miss 2 Thursday streams in a row. This could be a stream regret night. It very well could be a stream regret night, but I didn't realize there was a debate when I scheduled the stream. And the thing is, I'm not streaming next Thursday because it's the 4th of July, which is Independence Day in the US, and I might actually go do something on Independence Day. I mean, so I'm not streaming next Thursday. So the thought had crossed my mind to not stream tonight, but then that would be 2 Thursdays in a row I missed. I'm like, no. For all I know, they're like watching two things at once. Will says we have Monday holiday. Yeah. So anyways, I guess that's the stream schedule. I will be streaming next Tuesday, but not next Thursday, because I'm taking Independence Day off. So, anyways, that's the update on the Apple II Plus clone board. I was so close. So actually, I'll probably do. There's probably one more stream left on this board, because I do need to install the rest of the capacitors, and we do need to see it work with the full complement of ROMs, because there's always the chance that I could put these other ROMs in it and they don't work. So, Will says I need the power socket to change on my clone board to test it. Yeah, I wish I knew what the name of this power socket is. Unfortunately, this clone board had that power socket on it, because I have my Parts 2 Plus board, but I snagged the power connector off of it to put on computer, because that will make it easier to replace the power supply in computer with a more reliable one, having the actual Apple power connector on it. Oh, and the one other thing. So you might see that I have 32K of RAM on here, whereas last time you saw this board, I had 16. So this is the 16K that came with the motherboard when I bought it on eBay, and this is the 16K from the 2 Plus board that Adam gave me. So I have 32 of the 48K for it. But yeah, in fact, maybe next Tuesday I'd kind of like to wrap this board up. This board may make one last appearance for Tuesday, where we'll get the ROMs in, we'll get the socket replaced. I think I got some 4116s. I can give this the full 48K complement. I don't have a case for it, but yeah, we'll at least get the board to the point where I could actually put it in a case. So anyways, I'll be probably looking for a clone case and a clone keyboard to put this clone board in, because this isn't going to take the place of computer. It will supplement computer. So anyways, that's the update on this board. I thought I would go ahead and do that while it was still on the bench, because apparently Apple IIs and clones are popular on my channel. So I thought I'd give you all the update. Of course, now, with that update out of the way, I think it's time for the thing that everyone's probably waiting on, that maybe they're waiting on it to know that I'm live, and that is the following announcement. Oh, wrong one. Oh, I'm on the wrong, oh, whoop, hold on. Where do I have it? Oh, here we go. The following announcement.
Are you keeping up with the Commodore? 'Cause the Commodore is keeping up with you. In a world of fun and fantasy, and ever-changing views, and computer terminology, Commodore is news. Are you keeping up with the Commodore? 'Cause the Commodore is keeping up with you. Are you keeping up with the Commodore? 'Cause the Commodore is keeping up with you.
Yes, are you keeping up with the Commodore? Because the Commodore is keeping up with you. All right. Yes, it is now time to see if I can fix two Commodores. And it just dawned on me I forgot to grab a sheet of printer paper before I came downstairs. But two Commodores for 50 cents. Frank S. says I'm doing the Commodore salute. Yes. So I got my Mauser order today, luckily, because it was supposed to be delivered yesterday and it never went out for delivery. I think it got to the local facility like minutes too late to go out. But anyways, I have what should be the proper fuse for this VIC-20. And these were like 48 cents each before shipping and tax. Now, according to the VIC-20 user guide and Zimmers.net, the VIC-20 uses a 3 amp time delay fuse. So this should be the correct fuse for this VIC-20. I believe I read somewhere online, and I don't remember where, that Commodore did initially ship these with like a 3 amp regular fuse, or maybe even a 3.15 amp regular fuse. And due to them blowing fuses, they eventually just settled on going to a time delay fuse. So go figure. I guess Commodore never got to the bottom of what was actually causing the fuse to trip, so they just went to a time delay fuse. Although, honestly, if I had to venture a guess, I mean, charging a big capacitor like that could be enough to trip a fuse if it was under spec. So we will go ahead and put this fuse in the board. See, this is the original fuse, and I am actually not sure if I blew this fuse, because I don't remember if I checked it before I powered the VIC-20 up. But this was not a time delay fuse, because it's hard to see it, and my camera probably won't focus on it, but it definitely wasn't a time delay fuse. I think you can see the little filament in it right in there. Oh, hey, Tim, welcome. And Jesse, welcome, Jesse. I just put the new fuse in the VIC-20. I was just explaining the original fuse that was in here was a 3 amp regular fuse. And according to the VIC-20 user guide and Zimmers.net, it should have been a time delay fuse. But I think I read somewhere Commodore shipped regular fuses at first and then changed spec to a time delay fuse. So Jesse's going to catch up on that huge backlist while listening to me in the background. Awesome. I can approve of catching up on backlists while I'm in the background, because that's still watch hours. All right, let me see if I can find the power adapter. Here we go. I believe this is not the power adapter. Never mind. No, that's not it. All right. I got to figure out what I did with the power adapter. I mean, it couldn't have gone far, and I thought oh, wait a minute. It's probably in this box. Oh, there it is. Yes, it would be this big honking power brick that says VIC-20 power supply on it. All right, I am not going to try the RF modulator, because if you saw Wheel of Regrets on Tuesday, I have a video cable, because I found mine on eBay, the place where I buy things I later regret. I mean, isn't that where everyone finds their video cables? Thomas Armstrong says, I built 5 of the Yon Beta PSU. They work great. Oh, well, this VIC-20 uses the AC power adapter, so I'm not even worried in the least about it, because it's just AC. Okay. So, I have the VIC-20 plugged in. I have the video cables right here. And let's see here. That is a Commodore video cable. In fact, they're both Commodore video cables, but I believe this one here is a C64 Chroma Luma cable. So that's not the one I need. And this other one is a 5-pin cable. Vborg says, funny thing about the AC VIC-20, it will also run on DC 12 volts. Yeah, it would not surprise me. Let's see here. I believe this is, yeah, that's not video because this has to be video because the 6 pins is the SIO connector. All right. Now, the first thing I need to do is double check that one of these 4 does not have voltage on it, because if it does, then I definitely don't want to plug it in to anything. And I believe one of them is going to have voltage on it because it's probably for the RF modulator. So we'll put that there. We'll turn the VIC-20 on. And now, all right, so the white one is at about, okay, well, that's probably a video signal or an audio signal. Probably video. Well, that's probably video or audio as well, so that's probably fine. All right, red is definitely 5 volts, so we don't want to plug that in. And the yellow is like pretty much a solid 2.3 volts. Okay. So, just to keep from plugging the red one into something, or keep it from shorting to something on the back of my desk, I am going to, or in other words, to protect against gaffs, I am going to put some gaff tape on it. That will remind me that is 5 volts. Now, for as far as the other 3 go, I want to say that I toned it out, and I think yellow was video and white was audio. So, first, I guess I could put the oscilloscope on it. Yeah, why not? Let's do that. I'll just use the oscilloscope to make an educated guess, because I don't remember which is which, so why guess when I can oscilloscope? Because I guess the nice thing is, since I think all the shields are common, I just need to clip the ground onto one of them, and then we can touch the other 3 and see what they are. All right, so we'll go ahead and share my VGA. Yeah, Will says yellow is video. I think that's what I figured out the other day. But some of these cables otherwise don't. Actually, okay, that doesn't look right. Well, that doesn't look like a video signal because it's up at like 5 volts. Oh, wait. Yeah, no, that's it. Like, that doesn't look right. I haven't had a chance to test the CRT yet. And now I've got more CRTs in my garage that need to come down to the basement for testing. Well, that signal's up at like 2.3 volts. Yeah, I'm going to try to make it to that, Tim. All right. I think it's the yellow or the white is the video. Because there's actually like 2 video signals, I think. And hopefully I'll drag that monitor down here one of these days. Or drag something up the garage to test it. One of those things, it's like I see it's there every time I get home and oh, trying to psych myself up to drag it down. Oh, look at that. Well, that's that doesn't look right at all. Of course, then again, the video signal was like one of those. Yeah, that video signal doesn't look right at all. Okay, let's try the other one that looks like a video signal. I think one of these is like a high level and one's a low level signal. But I think the short answer of can I fix this VIC-20 for 50 cents? Unfortunately, I think the answer is no. Um, Yet that doesn't look right at all. Tim says, yeah, that's not right, in my professional opinion. Something about something being too good to be true. Yeah. All right, so can you fix a VIC-20 for... Thomas Armstrong says, video RAM still? That mean there are so many things this could be. It could be the RAM. I mean, the CPU is probably working. And I hope it's not the VIC chip. Beborg says, was anything socketed? Try reseating things you can easily. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that's socketed. All right, I guess let's reseat the socketed chips. So The socketed items include, I think, the kernel, the basic CPU, the character ROM, the VIC chip, and two 6522s, which I think are VIAs. Versatile interface adapters, or maybe they're PIAs, peripheral interface adapters. I don't remember exactly what they are on the VIC. All right, I guess the first order of business is, oh, the good thing is I didn't blow the fuse. So either the fuse blew last time because this capacitor like needed to charge up all the way and poof goes the fuse, or it might have already been blown. All right, let's let's just take these chips out and inspect them and deoxit them. Although, and by deoxit them, I mean just use contact cleaner because I don't have any deoxit. I also don't have any of the new wonder stuff that some YouTubers are hawking. I use the cheap stuff from the automotive parts store because they probably don't have an advertising budget and they pass along the savings. And it's still contact cleaner. All right, the CPU is probably working, but if I'm going to pull chips out, I might as well deoxit them as well. Now, the thick chip's the one that I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get it out easily, unless I can find my fancy chip lifter, which I think, oh yeah, it fell on the floor Tuesday, so I'll just have to get it. I can disconnect the keyboard. Let's get the keyboard out of the way. All right, there we go. Keyboard is now out of the way. I don't know what the new meme is because I can't keep up with them because it'll be an old meme tomorrow. Okay. I think for the moment, because I don't, those chips aren't strictly needed to run, I'll just leave them out for the immediate moment. At least I don't think they're needed to run. There we go. Got it. Yeah, I didn't want to potentially build up static electricity. So I managed to use my feet to put that on the bottom shelf of this table so I could just reach down and get it because these are static sensitive chips. All right. So I'm going to give everything a good deoxit. Yeah, see, the VIC chip looks good. Didn't see any bent pins. All right, I'm gonna leave these out. Those are the two VIAs or PIAs or CIAs or ABCDEF modules. Although this technically is an ABCDEF chip because that's the character ROM. It was lovingly made by MOS in week 41 of 1981. It was lovingly made by MOS week 10 of 82. This MOS 6502 was lovingly made by MOS in week 17 of 82. I mean, they had to make them lovingly. It is the friendly computer, after all. All right, the basic ROM was made in week 21 of XA. Oh, 19XA. That was a really good year. I don't think I was born during that year. And then the Kernel ROM was made week 36 in 1981. I mean, seriously, I do not know why the basic ROM has XA instead of a year on it. That is just weird. And for those of you that don't, they're like, what crazy thing are you talking about? Well, there you go. There's the manufacturing mark, 21XA. But yeah, I don't remember the year 19XA. Sounds like the year in Mega Man 2. Although I think that was like 21XX or something. Oh. I turned the microscope. That's why I'm having trouble getting the chip in view. There we go. Frank says it was the year before 19XB. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so now that I have deoxidated and reinserted these chips, and they are probably fully inserted. All right, let's see if that did anything. No, that didn't do anything. So the video signal. All right, let's do a little bit of character math. Hmm. So we got 2 EAD parenthesis. 2 EAD parenthesis. All right. Let's see if we can figure out what bit position or positions might be involved in that. All right, VIC-20 character map. All right. So so 2 is decimal 50 or hexadecimal 32. And that should have been an R. Which I believe is hexadecimal 52. Or is that 12? I don't know how to read these tables. Okay, Commodore has a really weird character map. Oh, hi, Sad Mac. Welcome. I found a character map for the Commodore, VIC-20 and C64, and there are 2 character codes for R. One's 12 and one's 52. But the number 2 appears to be 32. So... Oh, hey, Jamie's Hack Shack. Welcome. But do we have a RAM issue? Unfortunately, I don't have a VIC dead test. Or do we have a character ROM issue? I mean, the character ROM is the easier one to try to replace because it's socketed. But it's a 2332 chip, which means I'll have to build an adapter for it. Because it could be the SRAM. Although the SRAM looks like it was made by Hitachi. The character ROM was made by MOS Technologies. Oh, thanks, Thomas. So if I had to guess, it's quite possibly the character ROM. Of course, then we also have the problem that I think the video voltage level might be out of spec. Hmm. All right, I guess if we're going to probably okay, I'm thinking the easier of the two to try is replacing the character ROM, despite the fact that it uses a proprietary. Well, it's not proprietary. It's just non-standard by today's standards. 10 out. But luckily, Sloopy gave me a couple of these reactive micro adapters, and I believe these can be configured to replace a 2332 with something that's a bit more modern. And luckily, I had the forethought of ordering the decoder chip needed for the adapter when I ordered the fuses, because I had a feeling I was going to need to do something like this. So I've got the 74 HCT 138 that's needed for the adapter. And Sloopy gave me one of these handy dandy headers that actually will go in the socket. So I will need to supply the socket for the 27 series EEPROM. So I need to go find a 28 pin socket. And I also need I need 5 resistors that are, I believe, between like 1 and 10K. I seemingly remember that it was quite the wide. Oh, 4.7 to 10K 8th watt resistors. Okay, and a 20, so I need, 28 pin dip socket, 5 resistors, and the 74 HCT 138. And for a 2332, there are a couple of configuration jumper pads on the bottom. And if I'm reading the table correctly, I need to connect A. And then it's 1 and for 18, it's 1 and 2. For 20, it's 2 and 3. And for 21, it's 2 and 3. And I think that basically configures that pin 18 is not used as a select, but pins 20 and 21 are selects. And I believe that I also need to connect, there's pad 4. And I got to connect that. Okay. I'm sure this will all make sense once I actually start to build this. All right. Let me go see if I could find the resistors here real quick. And I guess I also need to find an EEPROM, although I'm not as worried about that. 28 pin socket should be no problem. I should have plenty of those. In fact, I believe there's 28 pin sockets right there. All right, let's see what I got. Because as cheap as resistors are, I would have just ordered more small ones instead of gamble that I actually had the right size. Because actually, I found some 4.7 k ohm resistors, but they were way bigger than an eighth watt. In fact, so much so that they wouldn't fit on the board. I don't know what size these are. These are only like, yeah, those. Oh, hey, Jack, welcome. All right, well, these resistors I found that are the correct physical size are too low of a resistance because they're like 0.9 k ohms. That's not enough. All right. Oh, please, while I continue to ponder where I might have a resistor that's physically the right size and also the right resistance. Okay, I don't think I've got the right resistors. Bummer. No, unfortunately, the bigger resistors won't work because they do have to fit between sockets. So, arg. Hmm. Oh, hey, Sodium, welcome. Yeah, I had to say that I've turned into a PCB and a socket. No, I'm looking for resistors, and this is was one of those times where I wish I had remembered to order them because I needed really small ones. The only ones I found are too big to actually fit because they have to fit between stuff. Or if they're the right size, they're the wrong resistance. So I can't build a replacement for the character ROM. How do I feel about budge wires with resistors hanging off the end? Not particularly good about that because I don't want to risk shorting anything out. Plus, I'd like to be able to reuse the adapter. Any way I can make those resistors work? Oh, hey, Rudy. Welcome. I am trying to ponder how I might be able to put this together with the resistors I have on hand. Oh, hey, Gut Bomb. Welcome. Do I have SMD resistors that would work? No, I do not. They are. Well, do I? I don't think I've. I don't know if I do or not. If I do I know where they are? No, I don't know where they are because I already did the project I needed them for. Okay, do I have. Yeah, ROM replacement for the VIC-20. Specifically the character ROM. So I need a 2332. Dead bug style it is then. Well, I don't know that I actually know where those surface mounts are, and if I did, I don't know that they're the right value. Because I need 4.7 kilo ohms to 10 kilo ohms. I'm almost about to go grab some boards out of my scrap board pile and see if any of them have small enough resistors. Hold, please. Combination of physical size required and resistance required that is causing me problems. think most of my resistors are. Oh, good night, Frank. I think most of my resistors are in these two boxes. The neat 2364 boards. Well, that that those are $20 a piece. Well, I'll look into them, but that's like a higher cost than I usually want to pay for a replacement ROM when the fact is I've got like plenty of EPROMs. Rudy says low profile and EEPROM, so easy to program and reprogram. I know. Yeah, easy to program and reprogram, but I guess it's kind of my thing. If I got to leave it in the machine, then if I'm going to leave it in the machine and not reprogram it, then do I really want to spend $20 on it? Sure, if I'm going to reprogram it all the time, then by all means, I would. That's a bargain because then I can reprogram it quicker. But I'm not going to be. It's not like I'm going to be changing character sets on my VIC-20. Because actually, I saw that and I was actually. I mean, it's a nice project, but you're using yours to test, and if that's the bad EPROM ROM, I burn one with EPROM. Oh well, okay. Now I definitely can see that use case where you use it to figure out which one's bad, and then you can actually burn an EPROM to leave. Okay, I think I now see the use cases are more out there than I first thought when I saw it, and I'm like, that's a $20 EEPROM that I'm going to leave in my VIC-20 or Commodore 64. Now I see it's a debugging tool, and then you replace it with a cheaper one if you realize you got to leave one in the system. Yes, I can definitely get behind that use case. Because a UV erasable ROM takes 20 minutes to erase. Yeah, also good for systems that have no room for an EEPROM adapter. Okay, I can also see that. If you got a system that has no room for it, yes. That that EEPROM is better than not being able to use the system. Just kind of one of the there's all the nice things that out there to make your Commodores and Apples and whatnot work better, but well, I have a limited budget for the month, and well, I chose different regrets this month. And it seems like the only resistors I'm finding are the ridiculous like quarter and half watt resistors I bought for that ridiculous synthesizer that I tried to build. Success. All right. The build of this thing can go on. Like almost at the... Jack's asking, this chip isn't just a standard size configuration EEPROM. No, the character ROM for the VIC-20 is a 2332 it's actually a mask ROM, but it uses the 2332 pinout, and that particular chip has 2 chip selects. And this adapter board lets you adapt multiple of the 23 series. So it lets you use a 27 series in place of multiple 23 series. That's why there's pads on the back of the board that you have to configure. Also, a lot of those 23 series EEPROMs use inverse logic for the chip select, so that's why it uses a 74 HCT 138 to provide the, I guess, inverse logic. Yes, the 2332 has 2 chip select pins. The 2316 has 3 chip select pins. Jack's asking, do both have to be selected at the same time, or do they have different functions? I believe they all have to be selected. It is like, at least that's what I surmised by looking at some schematics. I believe that, yeah, it's like really weird the way they work. Does it also have an output enable pin? I believe it actually does have something like an output enable pin too. They are like really weird. Let me see if I can find the pin out. It's like... Okay, no, maybe it doesn't have an output enable. Here we go. No. I was wrong. It doesn't have an output enable, but... There we go. So that's a 2332. This is the same pinout that the VIC uses for the character ROM. So note that it has 2... So CE1 and CE2 are chip selects. Notice that CE1 is active low and CE2 is active high, and I believe you have to activate both of them to get data out of the chip. So yeah, there we go. The 2332 data sheet from MOS Semiconductor Group. How nice. 2 programmable chip selects. So you could actually order the chip selects a different way, but I think the way the VIC-20 uses them, it's, I think, oh yeah, this is the Commodore. Yeah. There you go. So yeah, it's 32. So it's a 4K EEPROM, or I guess in the case of what's in my VIC-20 right now, it's a 4K mask ROM. So yeah, 2 programmable chip selects, and but there you go. So yeah, 450 nanosecond access time. Yeah, completely TTL compatible, totally static operation. So anyways, there you go. That is basically what I need the adapter to be able to use 27 series in place of the 23 series. And for lack of a better option, because I don't have anything else handy that can do it, I'm using the adapter that Sloopy gave me. Okay, I'll let you know, Rudy. Because actually, I don't know if this adapter will fit with the keyboard in, so long term, I may need a character ROM. But yeah, I'll let you know. Anyways, I think to put this together, does this have any... Okay, so it does say to install the chip first, and so I cannot socket this chip. Yeah, now you understand why people made adapters. Yes. So this chip has to go in first. And I can't use an adapter because there's no room. And then I think the resistors have to go in. Although, quite honestly, I think... No, I think looking at this, maybe I'll follow their build order. Although, maybe since I am going to solder this chip in the board, despite the fact this is a brand new Texas Instruments part, maybe I should test it real quick. I mean, that's not to say that I won't accidentally destroy it soldering it in. All right, excellent. It is a working chip. I think this 138 takes care of the inverse logic on some of those chip selects. Or, no, actually, I know why the 138's here. That is because the 27 series only has one output enable. But the chip that is being replaced by this adapter could have up to 3, and I believe this logic chip is being used for the I guess addressing, I don't know, the not addressing, the it's taking care of the fact that it's not just like a one-to-one relationship. I'm actually kind of interested how that neat board works without an apparent logic chip for the I guess the decoding of the chip select. Maybe I didn't look at it close enough, and I mean, maybe I didn't look at it close enough, and there's actually another chip on the bottom of it. I don't know that reactive, or not reactive micro. I don't know that if Retro Innovations has posted a schematic for this board or not. I don't think this is an open source board. Just happens to be Sloopy gave me a couple, so I have had it on hand, so I'll go ahead and use it. Okay, there we go. I think that logic chip's in. All right, Rudy. Well, have a good night at work. All right, so we got the chip in. Now the resistors go in, and I think I'm just using 4.7 k ohm resistors. These are quarter watt, but I think according to the bill of materials, you only need eighth watt. I believe if you were to order these from Retro Innovations, I think you can order them as a kit or just the PCB. I think they sell, I think those are the two options you get to choose from. Because I believe that's the two. Because actually, there's a note on the product page that, or somewhere, that if you're an international customer and you have a PCB only order, then you can contact them for additional shipping options that are available for PCB only orders. I think that might be one reason why it's available as a PCB only option. Yes, if you were interested in this product, then you could go to goforretro.com. But to be clear, Sloopy is the one that gave this to me. So Sloopy hooked me up with these. He knew they would come in handy sooner or later, either for a Commodore or Atari, and well, looks like Commodore won first. Well, these resistors almost fit. Well, they're a better fit than the other resistors I found, so I think these resistors should be low enough profile, though, that they will bit, although they're definitely going to be picking up a little bit. One second. Oh, there we go. All right, let me see if I can get those in. Get that resistor a little more level. Okay. I don't think that looks too bad. All right, hold on. I think I bridged two of these solder resistors together. I mean, it is possible that those are actually connected together on the PCB, but I can't tell. Oh, right. Oh, we'll see you later, Jamie. It says the kid taxi calls, so yep, fully understand that. I think those two might be connected together. In fact, to save myself the trouble here. Oh yeah, those are connected together. All right. Okay, two more resistors. And then I think we'll get the configuration pads. go. I'll get the configuration pads before I put the pins in the bottom. Oh, I wonder if these resistors are actually to. I wonder if they're actually pull downs for the unused address lines. Because I think there's a note on the Go for Retro website that when you burn the ROM, that you need to burn the image at like a certain point of the ROM if you're replacing a if the replacement ROM is larger than the one you're replacing. I think there's a note that tells you where to burn the image, and I'm wondering if these are like the pull ups or pull downs to make sure that for those extra address lines that you're actually accessing that particular part of the ROM image. Just a guess at the moment, but okay. So I'm going to check this. That I should, at the moment, not have any of these pads bridged. Okay, they're not. All right, because I'm going to go ahead and set the pads for the VIC-20 before I put the this to install the socket and then the header. Yeah, I'll probably go ahead and do the configuration jumpers now, but let me pull a socket out here. I think this is kind of one of those. The way it's built, it's going to be tricky anyways, but I'm going to make sure I don't see a better option than they suggest the header or the socket. Oh, which I think I need to clip the center frame out of. According to the picture I'm staring at on the website, the socket goes on like this. That's weird. No, I'm pretty sure you got to put the pin header on and then the socket. No? No, I think you do have to put the socket on first, but I have no idea how you get the header pins then. Followed by the resistors, then the socket, and lastly the header. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and set the jumper pads because otherwise I don't think I'm going to be able to get them. All right, so for 2332, I need to connect A, which is this one here. And I'm just going to solder bridge. Well, I'm going to try to solder bridge, but oh, they use some. I can't get the solder to bridge the pad. Fine. I'll just use a little piece of the resistor leg and all right. So there we go. Got A is jumpered. So now I need 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 2 and 3. Maybe I should actually not use flux. Maybe that will help me to bridge. Oh, no. Oh, okay. I think I got the two pads I needed. Jumpered. Okay. there? All right. Get that jumpered without the pin. All right, and then I need to get pad 4. 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, there we go. I believe that is jumpered. Oh, hi, Foxhound 477. I am putting an adapter together, and I have still yet to figure out how in the world one is supposed to, after putting the socket in, unless I'm supposed to be using turned pin header sockets. Oh, hi, Ron. Ron says, yeah, you need headers and then a socket. Yeah, I think I need to use my own pin headers. I don't think there's a way to put together with these other headers. All right. We use these pins. Then I'm pretty sure I can. Yeah, I think that's what I need to do. Not too late to use punch wires. Yeah. That thought has crossed my mind. It is not too late for those budge wires still. Hat cam is the best cam. Yeah. Sometimes hat cam is the only cam view I can give you while I ponder. Like the print shop thinking, except it's my hat. Anyway, since Ron has dropped in, Ron was so kind to let me know yesterday that Mac Effects has started selling the booty card. So if you need like a booty card for your Apple II computer, go check those out at Mac Effects. And Ron, you're totally welcome to. Oh, doesn't seem right. I think Ron can drop his discount. Oh, hold on. Hold one moment, then I can. Then Ron can do what I was. Oh, thank you, Ron. Ron, super chat. Yes, you want to drop your link for the booty card at MacFX, Ron, you can put that in the chat now. I think it will actually work. While I try to get the pin headers. There we go. I think the pin headers are lined up. Doesn't seem right. Okay, hold on. Something is not. Okay, where did I put that? Yes, if you have been waiting for a reliable source for a genuine booty card for your Apple II series computer, you can go check out MacFX and you can use Ron's friend's code for $10 off the booty card. And that would, yeah. Spelled as Ron put it in the chat. I may have also ordered an image writer ribbon among a few other things too. Okay, I'm trying to find something to help me solder these pins in without mangling them. There seems to be something. Yeah, I looked like they still have a few ribbon cartridges. But yeah, I was able, because I've got an image writer I've never been able to properly test. Oh, wait a minute. Here's a. Oh, here we go. This will work. I've already half mangled the pins on the socket, anyways. All right. Oh, all right. Hold, please, while I. Probably realized there's a reason why the socket was just laying where it was. Not in the socket box. All right. Let's. Oh, is this the socket I removed from the phone board? It might be. Okay, there we go. So now I've got these pin headers in this old header, which should give the pin proper pin spacing. So theoretically, if I get I think I see why those $20 adapter boards are probably a bargain. Okay, there we go. Now I think I can get that soldered, and yes, MacFX makes new image writer color ribbons. It is awesome. They also make, if you have an image writer color ribbon, there is also a ribbon only option at Mac Effects. You can basically put a new ribbon in your existing cartridge. So even if they've sold out of the complete cartridge option, if you already have a cartridge, you can get the ribbon itself. All right, there we go. And I think I'm getting solder in the adjacent pin. I'm going to help getting that socket. All right, there we go. All right, let's clean up the solder, and then I'll try to get that socket in. And then I'll burn a, I think I got some 2764. I don't need to use anything super big. I think this adapter board works with everything up to like a 2 or 512. I mean, obviously, without using some sort of a switch, you wouldn't be able to like make use of the larger ROM, but for storing things. But okay, now I think the socket should. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit tricky to solder. Unfortunately, I don't have any turned pins that I could use as socket. Wow, have I really been spending that long trying to put this thing together? socket. Oh, unfortunately, this socket. Okay. Oh, Jesse says trim the pins. Okay. I'll trim the pins. Um, well, unfortunately, there's not much pin left to trim. If I trim these pins, I'm going to cut the solder joint. I mean, here's the problem. This is why I didn't trim them. Focus. Focus. Like, the solder joint is the length of the pin that's sticking out. In order to cut the pins, I am going to have to cut the solder joint, which means I'm going to have to reflow them all. That'd be a better option. Alright, well, I am. And now, because it's generally a bad idea to cut your solder joint, or so I've heard. Maybe that's not true. I'm going to reflow all the pins so that they look just to make sure I didn't compromise them when I cut them. Means I'm going to get solder into the vias that are right beside it. Test the fit first. Alright, well. No, I gotta clear the vias out so I can get the socket in to see if it fits. Oh, maybe you were. Hold on, I'm sorry. I see things in the chat that I miss. And Okay, now will this fit? No, not yet. Yeah, I'm kind of feeling bad for my Commodore 64 because at this rate, I'm not going to have time to get its keyboard apart and back together. Well, it's this is, I don't know. This one doesn't look pretty. Unfortunately, it probably looks better on camera than it does in person because everything is skewed, but you can't tell because of the angle of my overhead camera. And yes, I'm a tough critic of my own work. Actually, not totally sure it's going to fit under the keyboard when it's all together. Anyways, this is why I was saying that. So that's the one side, but that's the other side. So it's kind of I can't get this one side down any further. It it's the wrong socket for this adapter because there's too much plastic frame under it. I think in reality, this would probably be better put together with a row of turned pin sockets. Because then I think you could get it together and everything would look even. Yeah, a row of pin sockets, but I don't have any. All right, got a few solder bridges that happened. No, it's not causing the. That's not what's causing the video colors, Thomas. I'm trying to fix one problem at a time. I don't know what's causing the video colors, but I figured I would first try to fix the whatever was causing the incorrect characters on the screen. And that I think is the character ROM. The incorrect colors on the screen I'm hoping are maybe just a potentiometer that's not adjusted. But I don't know, the video levels coming out of the machine seem to be at the wrong voltage level. So All right, there we go. All right. Only way I know to test is to actually put it in a VIC or a VIC-20. All right, let me put those chips in the bag. Let me find the leftover resistors and put them in the bag. There. Now next time. All right. In fact, oh, I have 5 more of those resistors. So when I need to build the other adapter that Sloopy gave me, I have parts to build it. All right. What type of mod am I working on? I am working on an adapter board so that I can use a standard 27 series EEPROM in place of the 2332 type mask ROM that's in the VIC-20, because the color or the text on the screen of the VIC-20 is wrong. Quite honestly, it looked like something that could be caused by a bad character ROM. So I'm going to give this a quick clean, just because I don't really want to get flux in the socket of the VIC-20. Personal preference. I mean, I'm sure I could clean it out, but why risk having to clean the flux out when I can just not get into that situation in the first place? Actually, why don't I just do this? I'm always spilling isopropyl alcohol on the workbench. Might as well just go all in on spilling it tonight. There we go. All right, I'm gonna let that evaporate for a moment while I clean that up. Okay, so let me see if I can't find an EEPROM here. So I guess since we had some people join after I tested it initially, let me go ahead and plug it back in, and that way everyone can see what it's doing now. So those chips aren't necessary for it to power up. So there's the screen. The characters look even more corrupted now. I do have a 2764 on my anti-static thing. Oh, theoretically erased EEPROMs, so we'll go for that one. Yeah, that's not the desired output. I do promise you, it's not the Egyptian hieroglyphics version of the VIC-20. All right, so let me look at the directions here real quick. All right. All right, so it says remove the IC under test, configure adapter for specific IC. Chip select usage, already did that. Install suitable EEPROM flash or EEPROM device with suitable contents. That was before. Sorry, yeah, I was just showing the before because we had some people join late. I'm always wanted to just make sure folks knew what I was seeing. Okay, so one of these tabs I have open. Maybe well, let me just find it again. All right. Oh, here we go. Zimmers.net. Okay, so the character ROM. Which character ROM is this? It is the 901460-03. All right, it's that one right there. Excellent. All right. So I have an AM 27. I think it's a 27 C64. All right, I'm going to load the file I just downloaded, which I downloaded the image from zimmers.net. Okay, so I'm going to import it in the lower half. And because actually, I thought I saw somewhere where I needed to write it the upper half, but I can't find that right offhand. So I'm just going to import it twice. And the second time I'll make sure to disable clearing the buffer. All right, so now if I program the 27C64, which should be blank, but I'll blank check it here. Oh, and ID check error. AM27C64. Well, that's the same chip. All right. Program. And all right. Well, programs. Pull the potentially bad character ROM out of the socket. I don't know why I'm getting interesting vibes from a recent Adrian's Digital Basement video. Or maybe it wasn't so recent, but he was repairing some Commodores, and a bunch of the chips had blue labels on them, and a bunch of the blue label chips were bad. All right, so we got our adapter board in. It is configured for the 2332 as the chip we're trying to replace. So there is the replacement EEPROM. It has a copy of the character ROM programmed in both the lower and upper half. 3, 2, 1. All right, well, the EEPROM didn't magically explode, and that is not the behavior that I wanted. It did look pretty cool, but that was worse. Yeah, that is worse. Jack says maybe I zigged when I should have zagged. Well, let me put the original character ROM back in because he French. Gutpop says he French fried when he should have pizzaed. Okay, so maybe it's not the character ROM. Thomas Armstrong says overcharge the flux. All right, I think autocorrect might have. Autocorrect might have. Okay, let's. I think I still have a wacky bit. Yeah, in fact, actually, I'm kind of wondering if the wacky bit wasn't on the character ROM at all. Because it works better. It works better with the original chip. Of course, that probably means there's an assembly mistake. All right. Let me check the right. Oh. Yeah, I think I found the assembly mistake. Put the resistor on backwards. No. One of my jumpers is jumping. It should be jumping pads 1 and 2, and it is jumping pads 1, 2, and 3. It is very hard to see. I must have just the smallest amount of solder that's bridging. So let me attempt to fix it real quick. Go to dinner. I'm off. Ah. Enjoy dinner, Thomas. Wacky bit or 2 or 3. Yeah. Okay. So now I removed all the solder from all those pads. So there's pad 1 and 3. Okay, good. They are not. Okay, there is no short. Oh, I could definitely say that if I had that solder bridge there, given that that's engaging that, what, 138, I could definitely see that potentially causing weird issues. I'm using, if you're wondering what flux I'm using Chip Quick, and I think I just bridged them all again. Actually, none of them are bridged. I decided to try Chip Quick. The Chip Quick that Bruce was recommending for a while. I decided to give it a try because, well, Bruce said it was pretty good too, and I like it. It also has the added benefit of I don't have to figure out the whole theory, Amtech, whatever, whoever's right problem. I just get to use Flux, and it works. And I don't get a migraine trying to figure out which company is actually right. Those are all wins in my brain. And now all three of those pads are sorted. All right, now I quite honestly am puzzled as to how I can. Oh, wait a minute. Well, there's my solder bridge that I didn't intend. Wait a minute. Okay, I don't get this. That looks like. Okay, I know I measured between those pads. Oh, I didn't measure between those two. Okay, that's the problem. There is apparently a connection between pins 2 and 3 by default that I must have missed in the instructions. Because the instructions seem to just say to put a solder bridge between the two pins, but maybe these might be a different revision of the board than the current directions on the website. I don't know. Obviously, the reason why it wasn't working is because there's that little itty bitty connect there. That I could not see, and the directions, well, seemingly didn't warn about. And I kind of wish I'd known about that before I put these pin headers on. Okay, I don't think I'm going to be able to cut it on screen because... Did I get it? No, I did not. Probably because my utility knife is dull. Oh, there we go. I think the other side of the blade's nice and pointy sharp. There we go. I bet there's no connection now. There we go. All right. Now, I should be able to solder these other two pads without the third one getting connected because there's not a little... Not a little bit between them. There we go. Now, that looks correct. I suspect the reason why we had wacky behavior on the VIC-20 is because, well, the adapter was probably causing undesired behavior. Probably a scenario the designers of the VIC-20 never imagined anyone would be doing in 2024. Although it's kind of interesting to see that the color ROM issue was causing weird colors on the screen, in addition to random fanciful characters, but well. No! Well, that's... Huh. Alright, well, I'll put the... Does the keyboard fit with the tall boy on there? Well, Gut Bomb, it's kind of a moot point if the tall boy doesn't work. And at the moment, it hasn't proved itself as working. Now trying to see if I see, like, is there a unsoldered solder joint? One and two, two and three, A and 4. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, oh, look, we have the word free. Oh, it's getting better. Actually, I just saw a solder bridge on my adapter that I missed. I think one of the address pins was connected to ground. Let me see if I can't make sure that bridge is gone. Okay, well, let's try. Okay, I think I cleared the bridge. Well, I mean, I might, if I could figure out for myself the whole Amtech theory, whatever, which company's which, I might, because I did like the Amtech, wasn't V2 and it wasn't V3. What was this Amtech stuff I was using that I thought was pretty decent? The 213 maybe? Well, we're getting better. Upum says Stereo is Amtech's consumer brand from here on out. I have seen multiple conflicting reports on the whole deal, which is just confusing. It is quite possible that the company that tried to be Amtech and I don't know, it's all confusing. Quite honestly, there's probably still fighting between two companies over the Amtech brand. I just want to know if I pay for a Flux, I'm getting the Flux I'm paying for, and not like some counterfeit knockoff. Is that too much to ask for? I don't know. I might have a solder bridge on this thing. Unfortunately, it would be under the socket, and I wouldn't be able to see it. Okay, so this adapter is not working. Unfortunately, there's probably a solder bridge underneath it. The it seems to work better with the character ROM in it than with that adapter. Which I guess kind of has me inclined to just like for the moment assume the character ROM actually is good. Might as well put these chips back in so that I don't lose them. I think what I need to do is get the VIC-20 diagnostic ROM because that's the only way I'm going to be able to run a RAM test. Well, I know I'll get it working, but it's not going to be tonight because it's like 20 till 12 already. So I'm going to call this adapter a bust because there's something wrong with it. I mean, unless there's something wrong with my EEPROM. Probably not. All right, let me see if I got anything that's close to the size of that. Oh no, oh no. AM27C64. Okay, I do have another AM27C64 here. I still have the. All right, I guess maybe let me rule out that it's the EEPROM. I think I got another one here that's blank. All right, it is blank. Okay. I mean, I can try that real quick, Jack, but I already programmed a new ROM. I don't know, maybe a bit flustered from trying to get it together. It didn't go together exactly the smoothest. Um, really, all right. Let's see if I got something to set it down on. Well, the problem is with this logic chip in it, I can't say for sure what it should tone out as, but all right. Okay, well, those aren't shorted. Of course, the other problem is it may not be a solder bridge. It could just be a um, failed failed solder joint, or one where I accidentally, in trying to fix a bridge, I wicked too much. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, I think I found a little solder ball in one of the pins, but I don't know that. I don't think it was between the pins, but okay. There's no bridge connections on the socket. That was me touching the probes together. Unfortunately, I don't know what the pinout should be to check like pins on the bottom to pins on the top, because I don't have a schematic for this board and I don't think one's available. Okay, that was me just touching the probes together. Okay, so I don't see anything shorted adjacent. Alright, I guess I can try... I don't know, it's the... We're getting to the near the end of the stream, and yet again, I didn't get near as far as I'd hoped I would. I think the eBay regret potential fooled me. That I was almost for sure that, oh yeah, this will just be another computer that just powers right up after I replaced the fuse because I didn't find anything shorted. No problem, it's just going to work. Everything will be hunky-dory, and now I've got myself questioning whether the eBay seller actually didn't test it. I should probably always assume that untested means tested and it failed. That's the second ROM chip, yes. And after I checked to make sure I didn't have adjacent pins shorted. So that's... So... Yeah, now I'm thinking I should have maybe pulled the... checked the oscilloscope first, but... I mean, it looked pretty much like, from what I was seeing, that it was a... I mean, it looked like a character ROM, because it was... Like, a bit was stuck, seemingly. Is it possible to read the character ROM in a programmer and compare it to a good one? Possible, yes. Have I figured out how to do it? No. The closest I've come is a web page that tells you to dead bug some logic chip on to the mask ROM to be able to convert the multiple chip selects. I'd rather just have a PCB to plug between the two, but I haven't found a... Unfortunately, I have not found a mask ROM to, like, EEPROM programmer adapter to be able to read it. I'd rather have something ready-made because there's a logic translation you have to make. If it was just like a pin swap, I could do a pin swap. But I can't find an adapter board because you have to translate the two chip enables to output enable. And that's partly because one of the chip enables is the opposite logic state than the programmer's going to expect. So I can't just shove it in a chip tester. Now, if I had one of those retro chip testers, I think those usually support the mask ROM pinouts. You just tell it you got one of those mask ROMs, you plug it in, and it'll do a checksum of it, and it'll even tell you what ROM it thinks it is. I don't have one of those because that's like several $100s. So, yeah, haven't bothered to buy one of those yet. I wish I had something that I could check these mask ROMs, because then it would be an easy plug it in, and yeah, they're like really expensive, and it's just like I've had other priorities than a chip tester. Because, yeah, if I had one of those, then I could plug the mask ROM in and confirm that the mask ROM checked out. Now, interestingly enough, the color on the screen, is it me or does the color look like it's slightly better than it was? I mean, look at the border color. I don't think the VIC-20 ever had like the... I mean, that is actually the blue borders starting to, I mean, I think it's still not teal enough because I think the blue's supposed to be lighter than that. But doesn't it look just a little bit better now than it did when I first started? It is starting to get a little closer. Still a little bit off, but it is a little bit closer than it was. Or is that just my imagination? Could just be that some caps needed to reform from being not powered up. Board might need a recap. It may also be why the colors are off. It may need a recap. Yeah, I think the next step is probably... Yeah, unfortunately, although interestingly enough, there are two of the SRAMs. No, it's probably my imagination. I was about to say two of the SRAMs feel a little bit cooler than the rest, but it's probably my imagination. They're still warm. Fortunately, I don't feel anything on the board that's like excessively hot. I mean, the Vic. Yeah, I saw the word free last time. So something is definitely... Yeah, something's up because now it... Yeah, it did say free. Now it doesn't. It also said 2EAD parenthesis, and it doesn't. Yeah, it's like F double quote EE. Like, do I maybe... I'm even like trying to press down on the board to see if like a little gentle pressure anywhere makes the problem go away. Unfortunately, I have like no spares of any of these chips, so it's not like I can, for example, just go grab another character ROM. Well, I guess next time I look at this computer, I do see a couple of MOS chips on the motherboard, and they're probably going to be the first chips I start suspecting. But it looks like... Oh, you can't see it. I don't know what these two chips are, but... Well, one of them's actually been reworked. Wait a minute. Someone's reworked that chip. Hold on. I just noticed that. This board has been reworked. Alright, good night, Foxhound. Oh, I don't need to pull that out to remove the board. there's rework on this board. I just noticed that. And in fact, it doesn't really look like the quality I would expect from Commodore, although it could still be a factory rework. Alright, let's pull the board and take a look. It might give me a new direction to try. Because if someone reflowed that chip thinking that it had a cut, or that it was causing problems because it had a cold solder joint, could mean that the chip's actually bad. All right. Looks like this shield is just taped on. Oh yeah, I guess that's just copper tape. Yep, that's just copper tape. Interesting. Guess this was before the FCC made them solder on the shield. All right. Why would you look at that? That has been reworked. Jack, I believe it would be correct to say the character ROM is data and not executable code. I mean, that could be Commodore. Quite honestly, not the most consistent if that's Commodore. But yeah, that's rework. And that's what caught my eye. I didn't see that at first, but that MOS chip has a big old solder blob on that one side there. In fact, actually, I would almost be tempted to get some of this excess off just to make sure it's not like shorting with this. Oh. I'm making contact with something that it shouldn't be. Yep. Well, maybe that was a moot point. I think that actually, I think that there's a trace there that was connecting that anyway. So still, I think I'm gonna figure out what that logic chip is supposed to be. Because it is a MOS Technologies something or other. NPS 65 245. Might be one of my first. That. Uh, oh, Jack is asking a good question. Jack's asking how the seller of this VIC-20 framed it in the auction description. All right, let's look that back up. All right, with original box. Unit powers on, but I cannot test it, so untested. Yeah, unit powers on, but they couldn't test. Yeah, powers on, untested. I read that to mean I can't test it because I don't have an analog TV or something like that. But yeah, Jack's saying I cannot test it because you can't read what's on the screen. So, anyways, I think that's where I'm going to have to leave off on this VIC-20. We're just going to have to try to do some more repairs in the future because I'm not totally convinced the problem's with the character ROM. Since the problem got worse when I tried to replace the character ROM. Now, granted, that could be this adapter got put together wrong. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it working too, Jack. Just, it didn't happen tonight, and it's going to cost more than 50 cents. So, bummer. And I didn't even get to cleaning the keyboard in the Commodore 64. So, anyways, yeah, something seems up with this adapter, but there's definitely something up with this computer, be it the character ROM, or maybe some buffer or transceiver that connects the character ROM. Maybe that MOS chip is a transceiver. Anyways, that's all for tonight, because I am definitely ready for bed, and I have to work tomorrow, so... Jack's asking, those reworked chips were bus transceivers, right? And I don't know what they are because the problem is Commodore didn't always... Wait a minute. No, that wouldn't be fair. MOS didn't always call their 74 series replacement chips with the same number. So if that actually is a 245, then it would be a transceiver. Let's see. That is UD8. That's UD8 and UF8. So I've got the schematic up. UF8 is a 74 LS 245. Oh, okay. So that probably is a transceiver. I just I don't see the UD8 on this first page here. But yeah, if that's what I think it is, if it's got the same part number as the one beside it, then that totally is a transceiver, and that actually probably totally is a transceiver I already have, which means I wouldn't have to order any parts, which means we could potentially work on this next week on Tuesday. I mean, I'll double check that I actually do have some 245s before I schedule the stream, but yeah, there's a chance we might be able to pick back up on this on Tuesday. Because the problem is, if I had to order parts, then even if I ordered them tomorrow for Mauser, they're not going to get here till Wednesday, unless I pay for 2-day. But I've already paid for 2-day once this month, and I've kind of got a rule that I only pay for 2-day once a month, if that. And I paid for 2-day to get the fuses in before today, and turns out UPS didn't put them out for delivery yesterday, so I might as well paid for ground this time around. I still would have had them today, probably. Kind of a little disappointed with UPS on that one, because I paid extra for 2-day, and I got it just as fast as if I'd paid for ground. Oh yeah, UD8, UF8, and UE8. Yeah, okay, I see them all in the schematic. They're on the first page here. Let me share my screen real quick. So anyways, here's the schematic page. It's on Zimmer's. Oh, there we go. That's better. So the chip that had the rework is, that's not that one. There we go. UD8. And that is the 74LS245. So that is the bus transceiver, and if I'm reading the schematic correctly, that one is one of the bus transceivers connected to the VIC chip. Oh, no, the CPU. No, that's the CPU. Never mind. I thought that was the VIC chip. VIC chip's on another page of the schematic. But still, yeah, USPS is another story, that's for sure. Oh, and they're raising rates starting July 1st, so there's that too. Where was the VIC chip? VIC chip was... trying to find the schematic page with the VIC chip on it. Hold please, one moment. Ah, I believe that's the VIC chip right there. And where was the character ROM? Oh, okay. Nope, I don't see anything on the VIC schematic page that's jumping out at me. Anyways, so those are bus transceivers. I mean, I could see that if that transceiver was bad, it could be definitely causing problems. So, yeah, I'll see if I got any 245s, and maybe that's Tuesday's live stream. Is we'll continue looking at the VIC, and I would say my first, if I were going to try to replace components, my first guess would be one of those two MOS chips, because those are, at least in the C64, those are more likely to fail. And I am having trouble. I mean, if the transceiver chip was bad, then I could totally see it sticking some bit. Even though I think the character ROM is on the same side of the transceiver as the VIC chip, I could totally see that if that transceiver had a stuck bit, that it would pull down the data bus. So, worth a shot. Yeah, there's still something up with this adapter, though. But anyways, so I will double check if I have 74 LS245s, which I'm pretty sure I do. But if I have 74 LS245s, then I think on Tuesday we'll probably pick back up with the VIC-20 because I'd like to see it running. I mean, I don't have a spare VIC chip. I don't have spare mask ROMs. Although the kernel and basic ROM, I think that I could make a simple adapter if I thought I needed to write an EEPROM to replace those. Because I think those is just a pin swap. Because they're 2364s, which is basically a pin swap from a 2764. So those I'm not worried about. If it's the character ROM, well, I might be building the other adapter and hope I don't mess up. If it's the VIC chip, well, I don't have a spare VIC chip. But we'll see. I got 74 LS245s, then maybe that's Tuesday's live stream. Because I'd like to see the VIC running. VIC or bust. Anyways, I'd like to thank everyone for joining me tonight. Wish we could have gotten to the C64, but sometimes projects take longer than I think. Actually, more than sometimes. It seems like a lot of the time they take longer than I think. So yeah, we'll pick back up with the VIC. If not Tuesday, then soon. I'm pretty sure that I saw some 74 LS245s around here. Those are just too common for me not to have any spares. So, hope to see you all next time. Don't forget to smash that like button if you like this content. It tells YouTube to recommend my live streams to others. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you know when the VIC-20 or the C64 or any of my other computers make it on the bench. And also so you'll figure out how much more than 50 cents this repair is costing me. And with that, I'd like to wish everyone a great rest of your day. Hope to see you here next time to hang out in the chat, have fun, and learn something about repair. We're all learning in the process. So take care, and God bless. Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon and by your tips and memberships on Ko-fi. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. Don't forget to smash that like button. And if you've liked what you've seen, subscribe and turn on notifications so that you don't miss the next video or live stream. And as always, thank you for all your support. I hope to see you next time. And until then, take care.